Hello everybody, I am the Black Sigma, or you could just call me Eric. How did the investigation go yesterday, Mr. Wright? Well, it involved me accidentally hitting my bumper and showing the court record. And there are still a lot of grey areas. Or rather, the whole thing is one big grey area. Don't worry about me, no matter what the outcome. I'm ready to accept my fate. I believe in you, sis. Mr. Wright, let me offer you a word of advice. Yes? A defense attorney should never believe their client. Huh? The defendant is called to trial because they are suspected of wrongdoing. Never forget that. Ms. Sky, you remind me a lot of Mia. But there is one decisive difference between you and her. And that is? You're not a defense attorney. I believe it's almost time for the trial. Good luck, Mr. Wright. You know, in a real court of law, she's technically correct. You shouldn't always believe your client. Your job is to get to the bottom of it, to find the truth. While belief in your client is good enough to get you to find things that others might not, so an innocent person doesn't get a guilty verdict, it also means you may start looking for evidence that isn't there, and that becomes a problem. My first trial without a Fae helping me. No one's gonna bail me out this time. I'll be alone in there. So I have to discover the truth all by myself. Let's do it, Mr. Wright. I'll be with you the whole way. I'm sure you will, Ms. Sky. Courtroom number 9. Court is now in session for the trial of Ms. Lana Sky. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution has been ready for a while, Your Honor. Edgeworth. It's been 2 months, but I haven't been in a courtroom since his trial. I hope that personal feelings will not be a part of the proceedings today, Mr. Wright. Personal feelings? For you, Edgeworth, I wouldn't... Oh, you mean that, platonically. I will choose the path I think is right, regardless of what those around me might say. The judgment to be made here is in our hands, not those of anyone else. Very well, Mr. Edgeworth. Your opening statement, please. Chief Prosecutor Lana Sky has committed an unpardonable crime. Not only this, but she was rash enough to commit it in the prosecutor's office lot. Wow, he's much more forceful in person. I suddenly feel like confessing to everything. However, she will now pay for her rashness with her life. There was a witness to her crime. A professional witness. Well then, call your first witness, Mr. Edgeworth. The prosecution calls its first witness, Ms. Angel Star, to the stand. The cough-up queen. Haven't I seen you somewhere? You ordered the caviar lunch, right? Ho ho, caviar! I've never eaten caviar before. The judge is really wolfing it down. This kinda feels like accepting a bribe. Ah, and for you, I have a fiesta bowl. Thanks. Will the witness state her name and profession? Ah, and you, sir. Did you order the fingerprint lunchbox? It is too early for lunch. Your name and profession, please. Well, Your Honor, how does it taste? So this is why everyone raves about caviar. It's so tasty it hurts. I always thought caviar would taste like pickled tapioca. What the heck does pickled tapioca taste like? No, I shouldn't test it. I considered it. Name, profession, now. Edgeworth, you always seem to have trouble getting that information out of people. Me, the name is Angel Star. Don't go forgetting it. I find myself running Lunchland these days. Is that what you wanted me to say, Mr. Edgeworth? Very well. Witness, please describe the incident to us. The prosecution will wait. I'm not finished eating. Hurry it up. Very well, Mr. Edgeworth. As you know, we usually call on the police to provide a description of the crime. Your Honor, as Mr. Edgeworth has said to the court, I am a professional. What exactly does that mean? Until 2 years ago, Ms. Starr... First name was meant to be in there. Let me reread my document here. Ms. Angel Starr was a special investigator with the police. She was a first-rate homicide detective. What? Ms. Starr was a detective? Aha! I know who you are. Cough Up? Cough Up Queen Angel Starr, Your Honor. Long time no see. Very well, you may continue with the description, Ms. Starr. Just who is this lady? If I might have the court's attention over here. The parking lot at the prosecutor's office is divided into 2 blocks. Block A is for the prosecutor's office personnel. Block B is for visitors and clients. A chain divider separates the 2 blocks. I suppose that's to keep visitors from taking up prosecutors' spaces, yes? The crime took place by a car in the back of A block, in the car's trunk. The killer stabbed the victim with this knife and went to drive the body out. Unfortunately for her, there was a witness, and an arrest was made on the spot. And who was this valiant witness? Why, it was me, Your Honor. Parking lot floor plans? Good to know. Witness, did you see the very moment of the crime? Of course, Your Honor. Immediately after that, I apprehended the chief prosecutor. Seems rather cut and dry, doesn't it? Well, Mr. Wright? Can't agree on that I can't agree on principle, Your Honor. Seems that some poor losers are willing to accept for gods, this is the 2nd episode in a row where I've stumbled over my words multiple times. It seems that some poor losers are unwilling to accept the truth, Your Honor. Shall I proceed to crush what little hope they have remaining? If you can, then give them your worst, Ms. Starr. Wait, they talking about me? So... Somehow, I always knew a day like this would come. I was on my way to deliver a lunchbox to my boyfriend when I sensed something. Perhaps it was my finely honed detective's intuition at work. Through the wire fence, I saw the chief prosecutor standing next to a garish car. The chief prosecutor was holding a knife in her right hand. Then she thrust the pointy tip of the knife into Detective Goodman's chest. Bringing a lunchbox to your boyfriend? How touching. As you can see, there is no room for doubt. The key point of your testimony seems to be nothing other than the point of the knife which you saw being stabbed into Detective Goodman. So, how does it feel to be so utterly crushed? I'm still thinking about that. It's merely a flesh wound, Mr. Wright. Very well, Wright. You may cross-examine the witness. I didn't pick up on anything immediately. I guess I'll have to go through the old press everything technique. But first, I'm double-checking the court record. Hold on a minute. If she saw the attack through the chain fence, how the heck could she have apprehended Lana? You can't exactly, tackle a person through a fence. But unfortunately, that wasn't in her testimony. She said that beforehand. How did you know? I respect the prosecutor's basic abhorrence of crime, yet their methods are ugly and twisted. Twisted methods will always lead to tragedy. The lunch lady's uninformed opinion is duly noted. Given that they are used to erasing evidence inconvenient to them at their whim, technically a grammatically correct sentence, but not the one I said, killing off a detective that knew too much is merely an extension of that. Ms. Starr, do you have something personal against prosecutors? I felt that I had found my dream job when I became an investigator. And if I hadn't been laid off by those prosecutors over there, I'd still be one. Laid off? She was fired. To me, prosecutors are nothing more than worms. That said, I am a pro, as you know. My testimony is unbiased and flawless. Very well, you may continue, Ms. Starr. This boyfriend, he's the detective? Not that boyfriend, the security guard. That boyfriend? You have several? Yes, this boyfriend, that boyfriend, and the other boyfriend. Care to join? The yet another boyfriend position is still open for applicants. I'll stick with the lunches, thanks. Note to self, the judge had to think before replying. The security guard room is in the lot, in A block. It's up on the second level, so you can see everything from there. That would be the room with the security sign, yep. Incidentally, did you bring your lunchboxes by car? Since I'm a visitor now, I parked in B block. So she was in B block when she witnessed the crime. Oh, she did say through the wire defense in her testimony. By garish car, you mean Edgeworth's car? Incidentally, the knife with which the victim was stabbed was also Mr. Edgeworth's, wasn't it? Indeed, it was. What an odd case this is. And the person you saw, you're sure it was the defendant? I saw her from no further than 30 feet away. I am certain it was her. If she's telling the truth, we're doomed. Let's just do what we can. Even if we don't have any proof, we can always nitpick. Witness, in your testimony, you clearly stated the following. Prosecutors are nothing more than worms. Ergo, you're a biased witness. You might want to keep those silly opinions to yourself in the future, Rookie. Rookie? Unless you're willing to risk the consequences of doubting me. I'll fry you like a fritter, crispy on the outside, chewy on the inside. That was inspiring. I believe I heard that tagline elsewhere. You could cry plagiarism? Where is that tagline from? These games are known to reference various things. I may be relegated to the lowly post of lunch lady, but my instincts are honed. A photograph? You took this? The moment I witnessed the crime, my reflexes took over, and snap, I took a picture. In fact, one of my lunchboxes is rigged with a camera. Suppose that's more exciting than just hanging it around your neck. Witness, why am I only seeing this photograph just now? You think I'd show it to you, a prosecutor? Think again. Ugh. My boyfriend works in the photography division of criminal affairs. Well, this is most certainly the defendant. That is unmistakably Lana Skye. So, what was the defendant doing at the time? Holding a knife in her right hand. Tell me more about it. Well, I'd say the blade was about 4 inches long. Is that right, Mr. Edgeworth? It is your knife, after all. Yes, that's about right. Prosecutors are, by nature, well versed in the location of a man's vital organs. I'm sure it was easier than boiling an egg for my egg salad surprise set. You can't testify as to her ability to kill an egg. I mean, a person. Perhaps a chicken salad set would have been a better metaphor. So the defendant was holding a knife. What then? Thrust the pointy tip into his chest. Tell the court why you didn't try to stop this crime. She was on the other side of a fence, Phoenix. And by the time she realized what was going on, it was too late. She did the murder. I was dumb in the last episode. That is not the date of the murder. The date of the murder was the 21st of the 2nd. But, me, in editing, rotate this 180 for me. Okay, the fact my webcam is attached to the video makes this a little weird, but, now that reads as the date of the murder, which changes the numbers below it not to be 67S, but rather SL9. Sounds like a case number. This won't be important until later. Just about the only thing I can think of is the fact that the knife doesn't have prints on it, so we can't prove that she was the one holding it. But also, she was wearing gloves. So that argument's gonna be shut down pretty quick. I really can't think of anything else. There is also the fact that the knife is not in the photo she took. But that doesn't really prove anything either. I have very few leads here. But I've got to start trying or I'll never make it anywhere. What do you know? I was right! Jesus. And you witnessed this. You saw Ms. Sky stab the victim with the knife. As I've already said, yes. I swear it on my finest salmon swirl lunch. That sure is a fine lunch. That's definitely not what I said, but isn't that odd? Look at this photograph. This is the photograph you took at the very moment of the crime, is it not? Then why is Ms. Sky not holding a knife? Ahem. Mr. Edgeworth, your thoughts? Objection. That had to be the weakest objection you've ever given, Edgeworth. Yet, it was still stronger than your ever feeble mind, Mr. Wright. Ouch. What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? This photograph was not taken the moment before the stabbing. It was taken the moment after the stabbing. And how can you tell that? Blood splatter. See the dark crimson stains on the chief prosecutor's coat? But it's a black and white photograph. That could be any stain. It's hard to tell, but this could be blood. Well, Mr. Wright, I see no problem here. No problem except you. Mr. Wright, are you just going to sit there and take that kind of abuse? You got a better idea? I'll object to the fact it isn't a coloured photo. And contradicts what the witness said in her testimony. She said she took it the moment she witnessed the crime. Well, it seems I was slightly unclear. My apologies. That's it. If you run out of lunch, you order seconds. Problem solved. If you don't like it, try ordering the jumbo-sized lunch from the get-go. Good advice. Not sure I understood it, but good advice. I didn't have time to stop her. Prosecutor Sky was cold, calculating, like a robot. She killed without pain or remorse. It was a premeditated murder. Premeditated? How do you know? Look at the chief prosecutor's hands in that photograph. Well, are those gloves? Surgical gloves made of thin rubber, most likely. Why would she have those on? If it was not premeditated, she would not be wearing those gloves. Ugh. These gloves do seem to tell a tale of premeditation. Premeditated murder, a serious offense. Witness, add this to your testimony. The murder was planned. The rubber gloves prove it. Do I have any evidence that proves it wasn't premeditated? I guess I could argue she wouldn't have known that Edgeworth would have shown up. I mean, he only arrived 3 minutes before the supposed murder. And she wouldn't have a way of knowing that, because he was at his awards ceremony. I mean, she would have known he was at the awards ceremony and would have no reason to know when he'd get back to the office, therefore would not have had a hiding place for the body. Not premeditated? That seems like a stretch. I mean, I guess I could press her first. What if she was just in the habit of wearing gloves, like driving gloves? The gloves were admitted as evidence when the defendant was arrested. Okay, give it to me in the court record then. They were rubber gloves, the kind used for autopsies. In other words, when the chief prosecutor came to the crime scene, she came to do murder. It's the only possible conclusion one can make. Everything was planned. It was a premeditated crime. Impressive. I'm sorry they took you off the force, mister. This is bad. She's got them thinking it was all planned. If she can prove this claim, the trial's already over. We've got to think of a way to show that it wasn't premeditated. Okay. Why are the gloves not in evidence? Miles, give me the gloves. Give me the gloves, Miles. I want to take a look. The murder wasn't planned because she didn't know when Edgeworth would be back. Nope. I'll take the penalty. If I want to stick with my argument of she didn't know Edgeworth's car would be there, I could go with the King of Prosecutors trophy, but I don't know. This doesn't quite add up in my head. Nope. This murder was planned, the rubber gloves prove it. This has to be the contradicting statement. No prints. Yeah, that continues to go with the glove thing. The time of death? I mean, even the fact she wore a trench coat to stop the blood from getting on her clothes screams premeditated. But there has to be something against it. I could suggest it wasn't premeditated because why would you do it in an open parking lot? With that security room being on a second floor, so it might be able to see over the wall too. Maybe? Nope. If the murder was planned, why would she use Edgeworth's knife instead of bringing one herself? Or there's the fact the time of death is so far in advance. Maybe the fact she had a phone with her. The knife? Okay, Phoenix, why? Do you know what this is? Are you trying to test me? I sell box lunches for a living, you know. That's a knife. The knife. The knife that was in Mr. Edgeworth's trunk. Indeed, it is my knife. What's with this case? A bloody murder weapon, a red car, all belonging to the prosecutor there. The defendant is the chief prosecutor for the district, right? Prosecutors bad people. The defense has a request. We ask that the witness provide an accurate testimony. What's that, rookie? In your testimony, you stated that Lana Skye planned this murder. That's why she was wearing those special gloves. Seems like a natural conclusion to me. The gloves do indicate planning. However, why would she also not prepare the most important thing? The murder weapon. Oh. Yep. Yep, that was the logic. That was the logic. I did not think that was the best logic, but it was one of my trains of thought, so hey, I got there eventually. Just happened to be in the trunk of that car. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to plan a murder, you don't forget the weapon. Order, order, order. Good, now the tide is turning in our favor. Great show, Mr. Wright. My sister's as good as... Don't celebrate yet. Right. I believe the next lunch you'll be eating is humble pie. What? I hope you weren't deluding yourself into thinking that the tide has turned. Not over such a trifling detail. But this shoots a hole in the whole premeditated theory. Bah, the prosecution could care less if it was premeditated or not. You mean couldn't care less? The only one who seems to care is that lunch lady over there. The defendant, Lana Skye, murdered a detective with a knife. That is the only thing the prosecution need to prove, nothing else. Very good, Mr. Prosecutor. I suppose you think you're clever now. But you know as well as I do that she planned on killing him. It was planned. If it wasn't, why would she have been wearing... I believe I'd like to hear your testimony again. Witness, please tell us only what you saw, not what you thought. How dare you? My powers of deduction are not to be underestimated. Really now. Guess that means I've got more testimony to grumble about being dumb in the next episode. Bye.